Imagine a technological giant, rivaling IBM, a company that shaped the very foundation of computing, yet today its name evokes little more than a blank stare. How could a corporation once valued at billions, a pioneer of word processing and mini-computers, simply vanish from the collective memory, leaving behind a technological ghost town? The story of Wang Laboratories isn't just about a company's rise and fall. It's a chilling tale of unforeseen forces, missed opportunities, and perhaps a hidden truth about the nature of innovation itself. To fully grasp the enigma of Wang Labs, we need to rewind to the post-war technological boom, a time of raw invention and boundless ambition. Dr. An Wang, an immigrant from China with a Harvard PhD in applied physics, founded Wang Laboratories in 1951. His early innovation wasn't glamorous, but it was revolutionary. The magnetic core memory, a foundational technology for early computers. This wasn't merely a small upgrade. It was a cornerstone, a component that helped usher in the digital age. But Wang's true genius, and the source of his company's meteoric rise, lay in foreseeing the practical applications of this burgeoning technology. While others chased mainframe supremacy, and Wang saw a different future. He envisioned computing not just for scientists and engineers, but for every office desk. He saw the need for simpler, more accessible machines. This foresight led to the development of early desktop calculators and then, critically, the word processor. The Wang OIS, or Office Information System, launched in the mid-1970s, transformed how businesses operated. Typists suddenly had power, flexibility, and efficiency unimaginable before. The OIS didn't just type documents, it edited, stored, and retrieved them with unprecedented ease. This was a game changer. By 1980, Wang Laboratories was a household name in corporate America, a computing titan with annual revenues exceeding $2 billion, employing tens of thousands, and commanding a market share in word processing that seemed unshakable. They were everywhere. Every major corporation, every government agency relied on Wang for its document creation. They were the Microsoft Word of their era, but with proprietary hardware to match. And Wang was a visionary, a man who built an empire on insight and relentless innovation. The question then becomes, how does a giant like that, one so deeply embedded in the daily operations of countless businesses, simply disappear? The first crack in Wang's impermeable facade appeared not with a bang, but with a whisper, the rustle of a new kind of machine entering the market, the personal computer. IBM, the very Goliath Wang had challenged and, in some ways, surpassed in niche markets, released its PC in 1981. This wasn't just another product. It was a paradigm shift, a decentralized approach to computing that clashed directly with Wang's tightly integrated proprietary systems. And Wang, a man who had built his empire on controlling every aspect of the user experience, initially dismissed the PC as a toy. A fatal miscalculation. While IBM's PC was clunky and less powerful than Wang's dedicated systems for specific tasks, it was open. It fostered a vibrant ecosystem of software developers and hardware manufacturers. Companies like Microsoft and Intel were building an entirely new world around this open architecture, a world Wang struggled to comprehend, let alone embrace. Adding to this brewing storm was a deeply personal yet corporate struggle. And Wang, in a move rooted in tradition and perhaps a desire for dynastic succession, famously groomed his son, Fred Wang, to take over the company. Fred, while intelligent, lacked his father's strategic acuity and ruthless business instincts. Under Fred's leadership, the company drifted. They made belated and often half-hearted attempts to enter the PC market, but their machines were expensive, lacked compatibility, and arrived too late. The company's core business, the OIS, was still robust, but its growth had plateaued. Competing word processing software on cheaper, more versatile PCs began to erode their market share. The company was also plagued by what many called the not invented here syndrome. They were too proud, too established to adopt standards they hadn't created. As technology accelerated, This insular approach became a death sentence. By the mid-1980s, Wang was losing its grip. Sales declined. Layoffs began. The mood inside the company, once a bastion of innovation and pride, turned sour. The company was bleeding money, but no one seemed to have a clear plan to stop the hemorrhage. Each new product launch seemed to miss the mark, each strategic decision a further step away from relevance. The initial whispers of doubt turned into a roaring chorus, and the once unassailable giant began to visibly tremble. The tremor soon became a seismic collapse. The late 1980s delivered a relentless series of blows that Wang Laboratories simply couldn't withstand. The rapid adoption of graphical user interfaces, pioneered by Apple and then popularized by Microsoft Windows, further marginalized Wang's text-based OIS. WordPerfect and Microsoft Word, running on cheap PCs, offered superior functionality at a fraction of the cost of a full Wang system. The market had spoken, and it wasn't buying what Wang was selling. Desperate, the company diversified wildly, moving into areas like mini-computers and networking, but without a coherent strategy or a strong product line. They were a jack of all trades, master of none, spreading their limited resources thin. The internal turmoil became a public spectacle. Fred Wang stepped down in 1989, only to be replaced by Richard Miller, an outsider brought in to perform a miracle. Miller immediately understood the gravity of the situation. He tried to pivot the company toward network integration and professional services, a move that, in hindsight, was prescient, but it was too little, too late. The company was shackled by massive debt, a bloated R&D department producing irrelevant products, and a fading reputation. A dramatic restructuring in 1990 involved selling off valuable divisions and laying off thousands more employees, gutting the very core of the company. Dr. An Wang, the visionary founder, passed away in 1990, a somber end to an era. His death, however, didn't halt the company's freefall. It, in fact, seemed to accelerate it. The final crushing blow came in August 1992. Wang Laboratories, once a symbol of American ingenuity and technological prowess, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. It wasn't just a corporate failure. It was a cultural shockwave. This was a company that defined an entire era of office work, a company so deeply embedded that its disappearance felt like a fundamental shift in the landscape. What they discovered next, or rather, what the market discovered about Wang, was that its proprietary, closed-system approach had become an albatross. The market had moved on, embracing open standards, powerful desktop computers, and ubiquitous connectivity. Wang's once revolutionary technology had become obsolete, and its corporate structure too rigid to adapt. The fall was complete, dramatic, and irreversible. Wang Laboratories eventually emerged from bankruptcy in 1993, a hollowed-out shell of its former self. It rebranded as Wang Global, attempting to focus on network services, but the magic was gone. The technological landscape had been irrevocably altered, and Wang, the once mighty pioneer, was a relic. In 1999, what little remained was acquired by Getronics, a Dutch company, and the name, once synonymous with innovation, slowly faded into obscurity. Today, if you mention Wang Laboratories, most people under a certain age will likely have no idea what you're talking about. Its physical campus in Lowell, Massachusetts, once a sprawling symbol of its power, stands largely repurposed, a ghost of its former glory. The story of Wang teaches us a harsh lesson about the fragility of even the most dominant giants in the face of rapid technological change. It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of resisting openness, of underestimating emerging competitors, and of mistaking past success for future immunity. But beyond the business lessons, there's a lingering sense of mystery. How could a company so utterly dominant, so integral to daily operations, vanish so completely from our collective cultural memory? Was it simply swallowed by the relentless currents of progress, or is there something more profound at play? Perhaps Wang's rapid ascent and equally rapid fall serve as a stark reminder that in the unforgiving world of technology, giants can indeed fall, And sometimes they are simply erased, leaving behind only whispers of what once was. If you want more stories of hidden technological empires and forgotten pioneers, the next video explores the strange case of Xerox PARC, a research facility that invented the future only to watch others profit from its creations.